Hello, welcome to Beyond Limitations with Dawn Marie. Today I'm here with artist Chris Cologne. He's going to share his journey with art and a few of his pieces with us.
Hello, Dawn. Thank you for having me on your platform. I always say as an artist, I think the hardest thing is finding a platform to tell your story, to express what you do, in terms of your creativity and things of that nature, having a voice to project to those who may not know about, you or what you do as an artist. So thank you. I grew up in New York, spent most of my childhood in the Bronx. I would say that I was always interested in art. Um, that's always grabbed my attention. My earliest, I guess, experiences with art would be in math and science class. Wasn't a huge math student, science not so much either. But the corners of my books where I was supposed to be, paying attention and writing down notes would be my time to create doodles, whether they were faces with the little squiggly lines on top for the hair, stick figures, things of that nature, practicing, how to draw eyes and, different things of that nature. I was the smallest kid in class, grew up in a house filled with women, two sisters at the time, my mother, my grandmother. My dad wasn't really home much. My mom, she worked in the post office. Sometimes, she worked overnight shift, and my grandmother stood home and took care of us most of the time, right? So, um, growing up, playing with my GI Joes, my wrestling figures, and learning how to jump rope with my sisters and the rest of the kids in the neighborhood. That was pretty much my childhood. And then, until my mom remarried later on, to a man who I call dad. I don't believe in the whole stepdad, stepsister thing, for me, he was there when, I needed a male figure around sort of thing. He's the one who taught me the basics of graphic design. So up until that point, it was pretty much all hand skills for me. And then, once I learned the computer side of things with graphic design, with Photoshop, and later on with the Illustrator programs, that just opened up a whole new world for me. Um, Having both of those skills definitely helped me out. So it was definitely an advantage for me having my dad around, teaching me graphic design. My third sister came along, little sister. So now, still house filled with women. Three sisters, my mother, my grandmother, and my dad. I went to Catholic school when I was, just a little guy. I started my art schooling, uh, in high school, and actually started traveling using mass transit from the Bronx to Manhattan to the High School of Art and Design, where I studied fine arts, which just gave me more skills using different mediums such as oils, pencil, acrylic, and things of that nature. Just really trying to hone my craft and find where I wanted to be as an artist. During that time, it was about how you can't make money as an artist and having parents who really worked hard for their money, right? That growing up, going to school, getting a good job, right? Having a career that pays enough for you to take care of yourself and possibly start a family and things of that nature, like the American dream, how they say, right? So for me, after high school, it was pretty much trying to find a career that would potentially put me in a position to make good money and support myself doing what I love to do, which is creating. And I went to the Fashion Institute of Technology where I studied graphic design, graduated with a bachelor's, and what I thought was going to be, that career working for a graphic design firm, working from the bottom all the way to the top and creating the American dream for myself, right? Turned out to be something totally different. So during my schooling at the Fashion Institute of Technology, I found another artist who had like views where he saw himself or where he saw himself and his art going, right? So we started our first t-shirt company and we started selling them on the streets of New York. Now, what made us so unique, so different, and so original was that normally people who start up t-shirt companies and things of that nature, they start out with 1 to 5 designs, right? And with all of their garments being mass produced. We did the opposite. We took our designs, based them on t-shirts, on hoodies, jackets, things like this, and we made them 100% one of a kind. So for the time, it was a bit different, especially for a street vendor, because usually you would think of a street vendor being a veteran, maybe selling pashminas, hats, different scarves, maybe some jewelry that they got off of some wholesale website, right? And selling them anywhere from $5 to $15, right? That's it. I don't think anyone, you know, I definitely wasn't looking to spend more than $20 tops, on the streets. Me being from New York, knowing the whole hustler mentality, things of that nature, it's very easy to get taken on the streets of New York, right? If you're not really looking at the whole picture. Um, so when we started selling our one of a kind products next to these other vendors, right, who, as I just said, $5 to $15 at most. So this is the perception. Selling our stuff on the streets next to these vendors was very difficult at first, right? Because not only were we selling, a totally different product, but now we're trying to create something and sell it at a retail price eventually, right? Trying to get our name known and you know, just try to create a foundation for what we've started now with this new company. So yeah, it was a huge challenge for me. So, just growing up really shy in an atmosphere where, bullying was very prevalent, now to a situation where I'm in charge now, right? I'm the one standing behind the card table. I'm the one projecting myself to tens and thousands of different personalities in New York City. If you know anything about New York City, you're not only dealing with the different boroughs coming from different train stations, you're dealing with international people coming just to visit. You're dealing with the weather, right? Because we're outside. You're dealing with the cars, the constant traffic and the constant noise coming from the cars just zooming by. It's dealing with all of that noise, and trying to, if just for a second, command the attention of the person walking in front of you. It was maybe during the first month we were out on the streets, so nervous. I've never really been put in that situation before. So this lady, she's walking by the table. I very, very shy about it, asked her if she wanted to come over and take a look at my t-shirts, right? Here, I was like, would you like to come over, take a look at my shirts, have some nice stuff, maybe you want to buy something? She walks by, she turns around, comes back to the table, she introduces herself. She asked me my name, and then she said, all right, I'm going to tell you something, and I just want you to think about it, right? She said, you asked me to come over and take a look at your shirts. You asked me to possibly buy one of a kind t-shirts. She said, the product you have on this table is beautiful. She said, no, I'm not going to buy anything. It's not because I don't like it, but it's because you're standing on the streets of New York, here in Soho, because we were on, what was it, Broadway in Houston. Huge traffic. All the department stores are there, Urban Outfitters, the Adidas store. Huge traffic, prime location. You're standing on the streets of New York asking me to come and take a look at your work. And I'm looking at her like, yeah, yeah, I'm asking you to come and take a look at my work. I don't know. She said, when you direct yourself toward people, there's going to be thousands of people walking by you a day. listening to the headphones, the noise from the streets, just everyone trying to get nowhere fast, pretty much. That's New York. She said, the next time you direct yourself towards somebody, you don't ask them, you tell them. You say, come on over, take a look. Like, this is what you want to look at, because, she said, because, the product on your table is beautiful. I like it. Like, I would probably buy it if you had told me to come and take a look. You have to take some charge, take command, right? Because if it was from that moment, I learned that if you're not excited about what you do, then neither is anyone else. Probably the number one rule, well, to me anyway, it's the number one rule of trying to promote yourself. If you're not excited about it, they're not going to be excited about it. If you're asking them to do something, maybe they will, maybe they won't. You're giving them a decision, a choice, giving them a choice. And more often than not, in New York City, since everyone's always on the move, and like I said before, it's easy to get taken in New York, right? So it's almost like a defense mechanism. Someone wants to talk to you. No, I'm not interested. Now it's, come take a look. We have one of a kind t-shirts. Yeah, take a look. It's like, okay, all right, I'll come and take a look. You're making that decision for them, sort of thing.
Right.
So it was a defining moment in my career as an artist, especially on the streets of New York. So from there, we participated in fashion shows. We went to different colleges all over New York. And then we even did a cross-country tour from New York all the way to Texas and back, visiting Kentucky, um, Oakland, Utah, Central LA we visited as well. San Francisco, love San Francisco, Texas, in a huge ice cream truck that actually played the music as well. Doing that was a whole other experience, which took us into a different lane, because in life you make choices. It could take you left, it could take you right, it could take you straight ahead. As time went on, things got very saturated. There were a lot more street vendors selling t-shirts, selling different things of that nature. As time went on, there were more cops involved. The rules got a lot more stringent on who could and couldn't sell their things on the streets of New York, sort of thing. So we knew we had to make a decision on what we were going to do because sales on the streets of New York were pretty much drying up. We decided to get an ice cream truck, which we purchased in Utah, if I'm not mistaken. Paint a design on the ice cream truck, and then created a little store within the ice cream truck. And then went to different colleges, posted up, opened the back of the ice cream truck, and had kids literally come in and out of the ice cream truck with their hoodies, with their t-shirts. You wouldn't even be able to like enter, a campus now with
Right.
a vehicle that looked suspicious, right? Such as an ice cream truck that was painted. But it was a different time. That experience was second to none. Came back from that tour and decided to get our own retail store in Philadelphia on 3rd and Market. Again, prime location. Just timing could have been better, right? But such is life, right? It's like I said, it's like you're delivered with this choice, right? To move forward in your quest to find what truly makes you happy, to grab that brass ring, so to speak, on your journey to the throne of dreams. You can either choose to go right, choose to go left. Sometimes it works out, but the journey sometimes takes a pause. So that's where it kind of took a pause for us with the recession. It was just too much of of a machine to take care of in terms of paying rent, promoting, or just keeping track of like the inventory, because everything costs money. After the store fell a year after we opened it, uh, moved back to New York, I had to fill out job applications for the first time in my life. It was, very terrifying experience. Like even more terrifying than taking than taking an ice cream truck, you know, cross country. It's just, it's one of those things where it's two different arenas. In one arena, you're the captain of your ship, sort of thing, and you're on your throne as a king or queen. To go from that to now the total opposite, which for me was filling out job applications, going on interviews, things of that nature. I had a couple of jobs started in retail, which made the most sense for me because I was kind of in retail selling t-shirts already. So that wasn't too much of a stretch in terms of, the transition, right? It was just the transition of me being in charge to now having to listen to someone else, which brings us to present day now, right? Uh, to the Chris Cologne Originals brand, which is the logo right here, all right? And the logo I see that's on your hoodie, which is very beautiful.
I love it.
Taking time and just creating different things, different pieces, such as this,
Mm-hmm.
that will never die. That's always going to be there. It's just picking up where I left off with BS Shirts, which was two kids who started a company because they love to create and because they wanted to create something that would bridge the gap between the gallery world, which in New York, anyways, can be very stuffy, where you'll go in, no one introduces themselves, you can't afford anything that's on the wall, right? Bridging the gap where it's from that perspective, where it's very stuffy, very unaffordable, unattainable, and to the fashion world where t-shirts and hoodies hold a very important place in fashion. But we're not cutting and sewing, so we're not considered all the way fashion, and we're not considered all the way gallery because we
Mm-hmm.
take our stuff that should be in the galleries and place them on these garments, which are prominent pieces in the fashion industry, right? So yeah, it's just wanting to make our artwork more affordable for you, the viewer, and just create something that let us have a voice, pretty much, and it pretty much spoke for itself and grew as you, the viewer, created stories behind that T-shirt of why you bought it, of the people selling it to you, of how you have this whole story about traveling from Manhattan all the way back to Brooklyn, and all through your travels, you're wearing this piece of artwork that every time someone saw you, it was a different conversation, right? Till now, which I still hold the same sort of values um, when I create the one of a kind hats, which is where I've transitioned to one of a kind line too. You can go with the embroidery, which is also
Mm-hmm.
very nice, right?
Very nice.
You can have all the talent in the world. Sometimes it just doesn't work out the way you want it to.
In relation to this podcast, that this is an area that you have to fight to get past your limitation as an artist and find that balance between paying your bills as an adult and living in what brings you joy and maybe your purpose in life.
Yep, absolutely. With the Throne of Dreams, I think it resonates with everyone. You can see yourself starting a podcast, whether it be being a mom, or starting a family, like progressing in your own career. Everyone has different levels of the journey, which is the Throne of Dreams, that they go through in terms of trying to trying to find themselves and trying to find what makes them happy, and ultimately trying to get to the point where they can do it full time, right? There's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end. Everyone's trying to get to that part where it's like, okay, I know myself. I've progressed in my career, or I've progressed as an artist, and I'm doing whatever it is that makes me happy. I'm doing that full time, right? In whatever capacity that may be, in terms of the day-to-day landscape and how it falls in comparison to what your thoughts of how your world should be, yeah, as opposed to where it is, in the current day, sort of thing. So, so it kind of goes back and forth between the real world and the world we create for ourselves, right? Which can also bleed into the real world, and now that's real to not only yourself, but now it's real to everyone else, because now everyone else is experiencing what you're experiencing in present time. Two new pieces I created for this Throne of Dreams collection is the one you see behind me, right? It's very neutral, very simple in nature. And there's another one which is similar to this piece behind me, except it's black fabric with a different floral design. So this one is the white on white, and the other one has a black on black effect to it, which is really nice. So when you get up close, you can really see the intricate details. So these two pieces would be, I would call them the quiet introduction. It's a look into myself as an artist, and it's a look into the collection as a whole, and it's a quiet introduction to a project that hopefully you, the viewer, can see yourself within this journey, within this story, within the pieces themselves, and start creating your own journey, start creating your own passions, your own goals, your own beginning, middle, and hopefully what we all hope to do is, get to an end.
Hmm.
Then we go to perception, which is how I feel a lot of people live their life and how the world kind of views you. Which, coming from New York, where everybody just say, yeah, just fake it till you make it, sort of thing. Everyone is trying to be something that they're not, or trying to, promote things, places, people that have nothing to do with them, as an individual. So that piece, very interesting. It's an abstract piece. It takes inspirations from tattoo art, very abstract. It's it's a bunch of masquerade masks molded together, and as you look closer into it, your perception changes, because when you see it as a whole, you see something totally different. But then when you look very closely, you can see the different masks start to appear, right? Your perception changes, sort of like in life, as you walk the streets of New York, right? Seeing these different things, your perception changes, right? You start to see new details that weren't there before.
I think that even happens in regards to ourselves as we grow as individuals. We start to view ourselves differently and see different parts of ourselves.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that's a very cool piece. So we have the quiet introduction, we have perception. Then after that, the Throne of Dreams collection officially begins with Life is But a Dream. That's the daydream. That's like, me being in math and science class, and I'm supposed to be listening. I'm supposed to be taking down notes, but I'm quietly doodling, daydreaming about what my life could be. So this piece takes a very childlike approach. It's the first introduction, other than in this piece behind me, which, the frame is in gold, and the other piece, which is darker, right? That piece is in gold too. But this is the first design where, gold is prominently, introduced, which is my favorite color, gold and orange. Very childlike in appearance. all the makings of a beautiful daydream. It has castles, it has unicorns, Pegasus just sitting on your throne of dreams as a king or queen, right? That's a very cool transition from seeing it on the wall to actually seeing it on a person, right? Um, quiet introduction, perception. Life is but a dream. From here, I've created another piece which kind of coincides with Life is but a dream, which is one that I'm working on now. This looks to be, well, it looks to start out to be um, a black and white series in pencil. And this one is called The Daydream. Some surrealism in there, very abstract, a lot of contrast with light and dark. A lot like perception, everyone's going to see something totally different. It's like looking at a cloud and, someone sees a face in the cloud and then someone sees something else in the cloud, right? Or as it moves, it'll form into something else. Very free flowing. So what would come next is the dream within a dream. Right before you enter the dream or the whole dream world, you're like kind of in between the daydream and actually starting your journey. Dream within a dream has a mirror image, in the center of the world that you've created for yourself. Sort of like you're in the middle of the life is but a dream, uh, daydream state. You actually see yourself in the dream within a dream design. You see yourself in that mirror image with the world that you've created. Seeing your castle, being built, seeing your throne. Gold is very present. The gold is representative not only as my favorite color, right, but it's representative of the status to which I hold my dreams, to which I hold all of my passions, which I hold my artwork, right? And the statue that we should all hold what makes us happy too, right? You don't have to be an artist. You don't you don't have to you don't have to be a podcaster. You don't have to have your own business. You could be a teacher. You could be a mom or dad. You can just, starting your own family, elevating your career sort of thing. I like bringing what I do to present day. So that way, no one feels left out. Like, oh, all right, well, this is just for artists or this is just for entrepreneurs or, I don't have a throne of dreams. Like, this is not real for me. Right. I try to make it real for you, the viewer, because I feel like a lot of times talking about artwork as an artist and talking about dreams and journey. So yeah, I just try to bring everyone together in what I'm creating because I feel like good art does that. So dream within a dream, and then after that is the choice, which is also very childlike in appearance, but also very thought provoking. So you look at it, it's a little kid looking up at this figure holding holding two different things. One is this little pill that's very shiny, right? And then the other one, he's just holding a regular lollipop. The thought process behind this was kind of Matrix like. You take the shiny pill and you go on your journey to the throne of dreams, you know. Or you can take the lollipop, which is very general, right? Take the lollipop and just wake up in the real world and like that's it. You live life how your parents told you to live life, sort of thing. How society tells you to live life, which can be very straightforward. Go to school, get a job, find a career, build family, yada 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 yada. Rinse and repeat, sort of thing. So I like that. I like that piece a lot, but that piece is a hit or miss only because of its appearance, and a lot of people don't get the whole thought process right away from it. And then from there, I would say one more piece: the choice. You're in the dream. Now it's the chase. So the chase, the chase is you see this for me, right? This is my journey to the throne of dreams. So for you, it might be different. But for me, I see this woman and she's draped in this gold cloak. Once again, is representative of where I hold my dreams, right? Where it's very regal. Something I wanted to make it something that was something like so unattainable sort of thing. But now you actually catch a glimpse of it. So now it's real. Before you try to bring your dream, right? Before you try to bring your dream out from the obscurity of your thoughts and the darkness, right? And out into the light of reality and put it on display for everyone else to see. Because like I said, if you're not excited about it, no one else will. So once it's real to you, now you project it onto others and now it's real to them. And they end up, being inspired and like I said, creating their own journeys to the throne of dreams. And it's like a rinse and repeat process. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So the chase is another one. Very simple in appearance, but very thought provoking. And then you actually see Dream herself. Beautiful, beautiful, regal, has this enticing look to her. It's kind of scary, right? Goals you set for yourself, like those can be very enticing, very, very regal in thought, like on paper, and also very scary. Like, oh well, if I do this, you know, can I see this through? What could be the ramifications of doing that, of going forward, sort of thing, And then from there, ultimately, awakening the sleeping giant that's within you, right? And creating the monster, which again is the sleeping giant within you, and it's what you become once you're all the way in the dream, and now you're tearing yourself limb from limb, trying to hold on, to this dream, hold on to this beautiful, frightening regalness that it can translate or be related to spiritual awakenings and things of that nature. So yeah, it's a very thought-provoking project. I look forward to promoting all of my pieces more on my website, chriscolonoriginals.com. These pieces are for sale, or you can follow me on on Instagram at Chris Cologne Originals. And yeah,
One thing. Did you speak of Dream in all her glory?
dreaming of her glory. Yes. Well, I spoke about her very briefly when I was like, you finally see your dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your dream's enticing you. Your dream never dies. It just keeps calling you and enticing you to go further, right? So, which all the while it's just you. It's just
Mm-hmm.
voices in your head, your subconscious. It's just one of those things where certain things in life call to you, and whether or not you answer the call, whether or not you feed the beast, those feelings never die. It's just one of those things where, for me anyway, whether or not I end up doing this again full time, I'll continue to do what I do because I love it. And that's what I want to promote with my artwork, with this Throne of Dreams line, with the Chris Cologne Originals line, as a whole. It's just whatever makes you happy. You should you should make time to do it, even if you think you don't have that time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And if somebody wanted to contact you in the future for an interview, where would they reach out to you?
They could reach me on my website, chriscologneoriginals.com. My email is chris at chriscolone, COLON, originals, originals.com. On my Instagram at Chris Cologne Originals.
Okay. And I will attach all of the links in the description of this video.
Thank you for having me. And I just want to say congratulations on your podcast. You're doing a great job. Continue your journey within your throne of dreams.
Hmm.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Be unique, be different, and be original.